you. Hi, Evangelina Burton.
Hi.
A bit of a silly intro, but it's a great pleasure to meet you. I have not heard of you before I'd seen the group, and you really stood out. I mean, we'll get into behind the scenes and your career, but just want to say off the bat, I took notice, and especially sort of staying spoiler free. The last, segment of the film, that's a masterclass in acting, pretty much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was it are we talking about kind of the last scene where
Yeah.
everything all kind of
Yes.
climaxes?
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause it was really interesting because we shot nearly everything in chronological order. So that was some of the last shots that we actually took. So we've kind
What
of got
did
all
you
of the
draw
mental build
from?
up behind it.
Uh, yeah, oh, the fact you filmed in chronological order is kind of unusual anyway, but seeing that
Yeah.
was towards the end, then what did you draw from? I mean, it's highly emotional. Had you had enough, or did you just like go for it at the end?
Pure tiredness. It was 3 in the morning. We were all done. We were shattered. No, I think I love collaboration, and that is how I really love to work. And then I think as well, because this was my first ever feature film. This was the first kind of piece of like professional film I had ever
Yeah,
done. And to draw on everybody else who obviously this was not their first rodeo. Like Dylan, like he was incredible. And I think it's just drawing from their energies and what they're also giving you,
yeah.
even when they're not even being filmed, and you're thinking, wow, like this this is amazing. Like you're giving me so much, especially for such a like a pivotal scene towards the end. And obviously
Yeah.
being opposite like my amazing scene partner as well. It was just really easy to draw off him as well when they're giving you so much.
Yeah, I'd say so. And such a it's not quite a one sort of location movie, but it's all fairly
Mm.
claustrophobic, and that would get to you after a while. In a sense, get you into character at least.
Yeah. I think we actually had because where we were filming it in a synagogue, there were also rooms upstairs. So I think in breaks you could just literally go and explore the building, just get out of the room into somewhere else and then return.
So cool. Your first feature, like that's a really huge deal. I mean, were you doing shorts? Were you acting in theater? How did you become an actor? What's your background into the profession?
I think I mean, it started when I saw a production, a touring company of Romeo and Juliet at
Okay.
my school, where I'm originally from, like on the outskirts of Milton Keynes. Um, and I kind of, it made me feel something that I had never felt before with like live theatre. And
Yeah.
then I did my GCSE drama, and I was like, I'm really, really into this. So I started like commuting to London every weekend when I was like 16, 17 to do short courses. And then I was auditioning for drama schools for 7 years until I finally got in. And and I was doing like loads of, short films, student films, loads of part-time courses.
Yeah.
I moved to London as soon as I turned 18 to, get into the hustle and bustle of it all, got myself a part-time job
Yeah.
um, at a theatre on a bar just to be around the atmosphere and just soaking it all up while still, searching for all opportunities that I could, whether it was, a lead in a student production or, a
Mm.
tiny little cameo like it, that I just like walk across in the background of a short film.
Just
Just
anything.
anything I could, anything at all, I would do it.
That's so cool. Like you self-motivation. Honestly, you inspire it sounds like you inspired yourself to get to
Thank
that
you.
level. Yeah.
Just pure stubbornness, honestly.
So you'd call yourself very stubborn and determined in the meantime as well.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it also just helps when I think because it is just what I love, it's just what I love to do.
Mm.
It makes like every day, obviously, that it's so competitive and hard, and there's some days that you're like, oh, I really can't be bothered to send all these emails. In the grand scheme of things, like, it's such a fulfilling, creative, keeps you on your toes sort of magic
Yeah.
industry. So it that like that itself keeps you going, you know?
Well, are you resilient? Were you getting knockbacks before this one came along with the group, or I mean, was
Yeah,
the group the
it's like,
first lead?
yeah, it's like you send off like if I sent off and I found my own stuff to tape for and everything like that, if I sent off like three tapes within a week for like these little student films, short films, whatever,
Yeah.
I would you wouldn't hear anything back, and you'd spend hours setting it all up, going take after take, editing it, putting in your ident card, and you just never hear back. And I think when you first start out, especially as like a really young adult, you're finding your new feet in a new city. It's it can be really horrible. But then I was also auditioning for drama schools, which is
Right.
in the UK. It's so like you've got 3,000 people applying for like 26 places. Like it's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And I was doing that for 7 years, and each year it was like, no, 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 no. Oh, you can go to the
Seven
second round. Oh,
years.
yeah, last round. Oh, wait, no. And then that kind of builds you up, and then you kind of realize, you know what, that's absolutely fine. It's nothing personal at the end of the day. It's just how the industry works, and
Yeah.
you know, if you keep cracking at it, something's gonna budge. Something's gonna budge. And um, what was it as well? There's a quote that I really, really love. Oh, rejection is redirection. I really, really love that quote as well. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's solid. I've heard that before, and it sounds like, I mean, self-tapes are what actors do now, right? It's very rare that
Yeah.
you're not going into an office and sitting
Mm.
there at a casting call.
Yeah, I think especially for first rounds,
Mm,
and especially since COVID, everything has, or like casting directors, agents have gone, oh, we can actually use the first round to self-tape. We don't actually need to get people in. We don't need to,
mm,
we don't need to take time out of people's day for travel, to pay people to come in to use the office. We can
yeah.
literally just send a self-tape. And it's actually quite nice as well, because you get to do it from the comfort of your own home. You get to do a couple of takes, see which
Yeah.
one you're kind of vibing with the best, and just send it off and forget about it as soon as you send it off.
Do you dress for the occasion, whatever the character might be, or have something in the background that might relate to the role?
Um, I think when I did the self-tape for Cara for the group,
Yeah.
I had a I was wearing a dirty black hoodie that really needed to be washed. So I put that on. And if ever I'm doing a self tape, if there says something in the script like, oh, she's a nurse, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go more professional, more kind of medical looking. Or
Yeah.
if it's like a young girl next door, it might be sort of kind of what I'm wearing now. Or if it's, like a business, I might go, okay, I'll like message my flatmate to see if I can borrow her, one of her like office cardigans or something like that. And I think in terms of background, I always just use like a plain background,
Yeah.
something that is non-distracting, with my lights, just me, and that is kind of what I generally go for.
Oh, that sounds good. So you think it out, plan ahead. And this
Mhm.
role in the group is full on drama. It's dramatic. It's emotionally high. And
Mhm.
do you think you'll get pigeonholed now as that dramatic actress, or are you happy? You're gonna do comedy next? You've got to change it up, right?
It was quite funny, because when I first got the role of Cara,
Yeah.
I started to get through self tapes for, oh, the angsty teenage daughter. or the runaway, or the misunderstood kind of young alcoholic. And I kind of thought, is this me now? Is this is
Yeah.
this what it is? But I think as well, being at drama school, if there's something now that kind of we're being taught, is to not put yourself into boxes.
Right.
And I think the industry is slowly starting to kind of adapt to that,
Right.
which I think is really, really special, because I would love to do roles from all kind of walks of life, from from
Mm.
someone like Cara in like this really nitty gritty kind of low budget indie drama, to a period drama on the BBC, or something like that. So I think there's scope for kind of everything, which is so exciting. It's so exciting for me.
Is there, speaking of which, and we spoke a little bit off air about this, but opportunities in London and are quite good at the
Mm.
moment. So you could really have different roles happening back to back, maybe.
Mm. I think at the moment it's difficult because of where I am in my training,
Yeah.
but it is like, I'm such an advocate for London, especially for acting, because you've got the theatre industry here, you've got the filming industries here, and all the little film festivals, and all the cinemas, and it's such a hub for creativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, whether that is you wanting to um go and meet a casting director for coffee, or whether it is to go and watch a show for £5 standing tickets at the Globe. Like, London is such a creative place that I'm such a massive advocate for it.
Yeah.
If you are wanting to break into the industry, 100%.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, we in Sydney and Melbourne are probably the two biggest in Australia anyway, kind of creative hubs. But I mean, there's so many great productions around this country, but to hear
Mm,
that London is thriving as well. I mean, I I report for certain entertainment hubs in the UK, and there's different movies being released in different parts of the world. So I get to see everything, and I
mm.
noticed that
Wow.
Europe in general has just an influx of some really quality stuff and great young actors. They're just coming out of the woodwork, including yourself. I mean, there's some
Thank
good stuff
you.
happening. So you're in the right area. I mean, but you're welcome to come to Australia and audition too, if you ever want to.
Actually, my flatmate is from Sydney, so 100%.
Oh,
I will be straight over there. I will be straight over there. But I mean, what's it like in Sydney as well, and Melbourne? Because we talk about Australia, and we're like, that's like 24 hours on the flight. That's a long way away. That's right across the pond.
well, we're 9 hours difference to your time zone, but yeah, we're in
Mm.
the southern hemisphere, so it takes a long time to get here. We're in the future. The opportunities, I mean, this would be a very long interview if we wanted to talk about productions and stuff, because I'm on set all the time at different studios and things, and I see so much
Um,
happening. And the funding in Australia, it has its ups and downs, but there's a lot out there. A lot gets funded, but there's a lot of indies as well. And I think a
yeah.
lot of our actors also go overseas, though, whether it be Europe or the US. So we're
Mm, mm.
everywhere. But it's great to know that you've got a flatmate from Sydney. Is he or she also a actor? I guess it's a she because you're borrowing clothes.
No, she's not. She is
Ah,
a proud finance girly, and she's
sure.
doing so amazing at her job. But I do also have another flatmate who, his brother now lives in Sydney as well.
There you
So
go.
he also is not an actor. So I'm taking one for the team in the household.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Have you ever thought about writing as well? Are you keeping a diary of all your, your roles, things, projects that you land?
Yeah, it's weird because we're we're so encouraged to make your own work as well,
Yeah,
because in
good.
between auditions and landing a job and stuff, it can be 2 days, it could be 2 years.
Yep.
And to create your own work is such a special, fulfilling thing. And it's something that at Guildhall, where I'm at the moment, there's such a massive advocate for it.
Mm.
I kind of started off like, oh, I'm not really a writer though. I don't really do this. But then I found myself, especially if I'm on the tube or on the bus or walking, I would generally find myself like whipping out the notes app on my phone and writing something down or voice noting myself and listening to it later and kind of thinking, that's
Fantastic.
actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Like that could work as something.
Yeah.
And we meet so many people in our life and experience so many things that it's kind of we've got this huge atlas of everything that could be made into art. It could be made into a film or a theatre piece or a series. So I've really begun now really taking note of stuff and writing it down and being like, I could actually develop this, or I could get a group of girls together and we could tell the story.
Mm.
And I think that's something really special.
Mm. No, I totally agree. And you'd fit right in because you have an exotic name. I love your name. It's not a stage name, right? It's real, Evangelina Burton.
No, Evangelina is my birth certificate. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Have you got a middle name as well? Just as cool.
I have two. It's Evangelina Marie and then Salou Burton. And Salou's like it's kind of like this great uncle that I've got, and he's kind of in the Natural History Museum in London, and
Wow.
so it's kind of like an heirloomy name. So
That's
if I have
cool.
kids when I'm older, they're gonna have Salou as one of their middle names, and
Yep.
yeah, it's quite a cool thing. So if I go to the Natural History Museum, he's like next to Darwin. I'm like, yep, that's my great uncle. That is.
Oh, this is incredible. The heritage that's beaming out of you right now. That's so good. Thank you for that information.
Thank you.
The BAFTAs, have you ever attended or ever
No, it's a dream. It's a
been
dream.
invited?
It's a dream. Honestly, it's one of those ones where when everybody is talking about it, it gets you so excited and you're like, oh, I really wish I was there. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you kind of view everything, you're like, wow, they've worked extremely hard.
Yeah.
They're that's kind of something to strive towards as well, and being like, what, one day that would be amazing to be in that environment, to be around these people and that atmosphere. Like, how incredible must that be?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that. So one day, I'm manifesting it slowly but surely.
Well, the BAFTAs are one of the few award shows that present a Rising Star Award. These up and comers to
Mm.
establish, non-established actors basically, or people they think are rising, obviously, hence the name. So you never know, right? I'm giving you good
One day,
vibes.
one day.
What about the future? What's that holding for you? Any upcoming projects that you can talk about, or you've got,
Yeah. I
bag?
mean, at the moment, I'm in my final year at a really, really amazing drama school in central London.
Yeah,
So at the moment, I'm currently in rehearsals for a show that's going to be like our first public performance near kind of the end of October time. It runs for a week, so we're in rehearsals for that every day, which is super exciting.
yeah,
And then like straight after that, we're on to like a screen module and a screen project. And then for the next year, basically, it's full of performances, showcases,
yeah.
rehearsals, screenings, kind of
Still
everything like
happening.
that. Yeah. It all kicks off in third year because it's kind of so heavily industry based.
Mm.
But then at the same time, I really miss being on set. I miss everything like that. But I mean, some people before you can in third year leave to do a professional production. Like people have left to do a BBC series. People have
Okay.
left to go onto the National Theatre, and I'm like, oh yes, that sounds amazing. Sign me up, sign me up. So that's kind of what my next year year looks like at the moment?
Being from such, being part of that drama school, prestigious, is it by the book? Is it all regimented, or do they encourage you to ad lib, or go for roles outside your box to get uncomfortable in roles, or is it sort of by the numbers at this point because you're still studying?
I think it is very much like any boundaries that you have, that is a boundary and that's fine. But they really encourage you to explore
Yep.
kind of outside what you would normally go for,
Yep.
and to really not box yourself into one role, because as human beings we are like, we have limitless, you know, potential. We have limitless thoughts, we have limitless moods and everything like that, and you could,
Yeah.
like, no human being is one thing. So I mean, saying that, some actors have, they kind of go for like these same roly typecasty, and they've got amazing careers and they're super happy.
Mm.
um but then at the same time, a human being has the experience and everything to be a million different things at a million different times. So they really, really explore you to really just go for anything that you find interesting and you that really speaks to you, and you're like, oh, I really want to tell that story.
Good.
I will give it a go. Why not?
Yep. No, I'm glad to hear that. I think you've got range, so yeah, explore
Thank
out,
you.
beyond. I mean, boundaries are very important, but yeah,
Mhm.
beyond the norm, I think is a great idea. What about
Mhm.
accents? Are you any good at accents? Do they teach you the Australian accent, say,
We
or other
are
accents?
the Australian I'm not good at. It's just kind, because I used to watch H2O when I was younger, and
Ah,
I'm always like to my flatmate, I'm like, oh, Sydney, like the water. So, but that's like a very, I would need to go into that. I think as well, there's such a market for knowing the general, like a general American accent.
yeah,
Um, and that is such a massive thing at the moment on your spotlight, on your acting resume. It's to have that general American accent, because um I think the crossover between the American industry and the British industry is so intertwined.
mm,
And then it's also embracing your natural sound,
mm,
but also if you do find an accent like really, really fun, and you're able to like be cast in something with potentially doing the accent, I think that's like a really fun thing. Like, I went traveling around the Republic of Ireland earlier this year, and I kind of fell in
yeah,
love with the accent. So I'm kind of like trying to like lean towards doing like a little bit of an Irish accent.
yeah.
So it's just like a little something to like, again, add to my spotlight, add to my CV, and like, maybe if I kind of like in the future get better at it. I don't know, but yeah. So we'll see.
Well, speaking of Ireland, the Irish film industry is just thriving as well. I mean, there's so many
Mm,
great Irish productions, and we have an Irish
yeah,
film festival that comes to Australia every year, which is coming up actually, and there's just so much in
yeah, yeah.
programs.
There's so, yeah, there is. There's so many, and there's so many like actors as well from there. I mean, there's actually a girl in my class, and she's from Belfast, Northern Ireland, and she's always like, you know what, there are so many good
Yeah,
independent Irish films at the moment representing some of the best Irish talent, and it's just
yeah,
it's so great to watch, because I love world cinema, and I love if it
yeah,
like foreign language films as well. Like, I think
yeah.
you gain so much from films around the world. So to see films from other walks of life and cultures and countries, that's such a special thing.
Oh, for sure. I'm a big fan of indie films in general, but and supporting indie filmmakers and actors. But foreign films, they slip through the cracks, and you got to be careful because there's some really good
Yeah.
films out there and classics that sometimes just never get seen or spoken about.
Yeah. Because I think it's like people are put off when it's not done in their like native language. If it's not done in English, and they're like, oh, I'll put on the subtitles. But it's just
Yeah,
that like that it's art. It's so
yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing to watch a film and a piece of creative writing done in another language, because
yeah,
you can't watch it dubbed because it loses its whole, like it loses all the specific, like the specificities of the
yeah.
language, the patterns and everything like that. So it's just
Well,
it's
thankful,
amazing. Like it's like part of our culture.
thankfully, I it does miss a lot, but I refuse if unless I absolutely have to. Most streaming services will have that option of having
Mhm.
subtitles rather than
Yeah,
an
yeah.
English dub. Not all of them, but you can. There is an option there most of the time
Mm.
because it's so frustrating. And I know I can't help but look at their mouth different to the words coming out of it. It's just too obvious for me when it's dubbed.
Yeah, and unless you have like your friend next to you who happens to speak fluent Portuguese or something, and you're like, what are they saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
exactly. And,
now,
it
you're
can
like,
get
they're
lost.
like, oh, it's a film.
It gets lost in translation as well, which isn't
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you do outside of acting and studying to be an actor? What do you do? Do you like music? Can you sing? Do you play sport? Anything
I,
exciting?
I, I love, I do love singing. I love dance. I am working towards my diploma in violin, because violin is something that I've been doing like since I was
Oh, nice.
um like 7, 8 as well. It's a bit difficult at the moment, just because the rehearsals literally start at 9 in the morning, finish at 7. You kind of
Well,
get home going, oh God. Um, Super into health and fitness and cooking actually as well. Like I adore the gym. I love swimming. I love netball.
yeah.
Um, Cooking. I'm such an advocate for. I'm such a foodie. Like I love food from like around the world. So I always need to try new dishes. Solo travel. I'm I always have like somewhere booked and ready to go. I love my solo travel and going to hostels and booking the
Really?
cheapest flights and just really exploring the world and meeting people. And it's kind of like a joke where um my dad will text me and be like, "Oh, are you still in the UK then, or have you like popped off?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually traveling around Bulgaria, but I will see you soon. I'll call you when I land. I'll call you when I land," sort of thing.
But that's good in a way. I've got a couple of questions that comes out of what you just said then, but that is great that you're willing to just drop everything and go traveling solo because there might be a role, as you say, in Bulgaria or some remote place that you probably wouldn't mind going to.
Oh, I literally I love it. I also think the power of solo travel is so
Right.
good as well, because it takes you out of your comfort zone. It takes you out of everything you know. It places you in this foreign country where a lot of the time you don't know the language or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you're experiencing new food, new weather, new people for the first time, and you're soaking up all of this atmosphere, and it's amazing. Honestly, it's such like a life-changing
Yep.
thing where to see more of the world, especially as an artist, if you are it's just creatively fueling you. And I think I'm such an advocate for solo travel and to experience the world and to stay in these hostels and to meet random people and to talk to people. It's really, really special. It's really, really special.
Are you so you're not scared then? Obviously, you're quite in control. You know at all times, and nothing would rock you at all. You never had any experiences like that where you felt threatened.
I mean, I was I like I went to Bulgaria on like a super, Ryanair flight, a hostel for 4 nights, very cheap, very great.
That's
But on the
brave.
long
That's brave.
yeah, I mean, It was okay. I always read the reviews. I always do like my background checks. But on the last day, I was kind of planning on having a little lie-in until 9,
Yeah.
whatever, or checking out. And I woke up to banging on the door at 6:30 in the morning, and it was the police, and the police were raiding the hostel, and
Oh,
they wanted to look at all of our passports and documents and like our emails to say that we were there.
yeah.
And it's just kind of one of those things where you open the door and there's like 7 tall male police officers, and I'm
Whoa.
thinking, oh, this is really weird. Can I please see your badge? Like, are you legit police officers? I don't really want to hand over my passport right now. And like everyone's tired, everyone's groggy. It's 6:30
Yeah.
in the morning. But it also sounds stupid, but it's also times like that where you're like, I actually learned something about myself just then.
Okay.
I stepped up to the game. Like this is great, and now I'm thinking that could actually be quite a cool scene in like a TV series or something.
Yeah. Well, like I said, take notes, write a diary, all your experiences. You should jot them all down.
You never know when they're going to come in handy.
Well, were the police, just on that again for a second, were the police speaking in English when they,
Yeah,
banged on the door? They were, so you could understand what they were saying then.
yeah. So it was like open passport documents, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool, cool, cool. Um,
Right.
like very like minimal, but again, it's absolutely it. Apparently, it was kind of like a routine check that sometimes they go around some
Sure.
hostels in Bulgaria for illegal activity and stuff like that.
Sure.
Nobody was taken in. We were all good. Everyone in my dorm was all good. Um,
That's
but yeah,
good.
it's just stuff like that that happens around like different countries.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I've watched enough movies about things like that happening and police, corrupt police, and people getting kidnapped and disappearing. So, yeah, solo traveling might be invigorating to you, but please be careful. Now I know you.
100%, 100%. Like, I went to like Brazil as well because one of my best friends, she's half Brazilian, born and raised in Rio. So, I went around with her. Like, there are some countries I probably wouldn't go solo to.
Yep.
Um, but the majority, like around Europe, I 100%, America, Australia, 100%. I will be on the next plane over.
Well, put it this way, don't watch a movie called, Wolf Creek. That might put you off a bit, but there's a movie, a recent one, called The Royal Hotel, about two backpackers, two friends that come to Australia and go to an outback pub to work for some money because they're, in the country and they get sponsored, but it's hell for them and it's based on a true story. So, yeah, maybe not watch that one if you're coming down under.
Well, I'm like, what's it called again? So the
It's called The
hotel,
Royal Hotel with Julia Garner.
the
Uh,
Royal Hotel. Oh, okay.
and Hugo Weaving is the publican, and it's actually based on a documentary on a true incident of two foreign backpackers coming to our country and getting quite mistreated. It was a big deal, but the movie is a great film. So The Royal Hotel, but watch it now before you get invited here. Maybe it's a good film.
The spiders, the snakes, the sharks, the Royal Hotel.
Well, speaking of sharks, I always ask my guests, can you surf?
No, but I can scuba dive.
Okay, well, a little different,
Exactly.
little
But
different.
I'll give it a go. I can paddleboard. I've
Okay,
got good balance.
yep, that's good. It's all surfing all starts with balance. So I was just wondering because it's something I do all the time. So I always like to ask if, my guests can
Oh,
surf.
yeah. In London, we're not near any beaches.
Cornwall, Brighton, right?
I feel like the climate might be a bit horrible this time of year. And
Sure,
I don't really feel like hypothermia, but
sure.
when I do come to Australia, I will be straight on the beach. Straight on the
Well,
beach.
straight on the beach as long as there's no blue bottles, jellyfish, that kind of thing. You'll be all right.
A great white is lurking there.
There's a few around that, trust me, a lot you don't see, but yeah, they're around lurking. And you mentioned cooking before. What's your specialty? You said you love to cook. Do you have a specialty or two that you always love to do?
I love So if ever I'm stressed at the end of the day, I can't order, like I need to cook something from scratch. And I think it's like proper comforting meals. Like if I was to make like a spaghetti bolognese, it would be from scratch with the
Mm.
onions, with the carrots, with the celery, with the red wine, with the bay leaves, with like really, really from scratch. Or some stews, or my mum growing up, she made like this German pumpkin soup that is just kind of very like nostalgic for me.
Yep.
So, anything just like balanced and hearty and like something that feels like a hug from the inside out, I will do it. Oh, homemade pizza as well. I'm a massive advocate for homemade pizza. I will make the dough myself. I will knead it. I will cut all the toppings. Yeah,
Wow.
that to me is my love language.
I'm coming over. I'll see you soon.
Come on over, come on over. I've got all the toppings waiting in my fridge. It's all
Sounds
good.
good. All right, to wrap it up, I really appreciate all the time you've given me tonight. But to wrap it up, just the final word on the group. I mean, you've seen you've seen it with an audience, right? And you've seen their reaction, and now it's streaming for people to see. In your own words, why should people watch it, do you think? I mean, personally, it's pretty full on. So it's, I mean, there's worse dramatic movies out there, but it's not a happy film, put it that way. Is it not uplifting? But the acting and everything, I think, is terrific for an indie film. It's very dedicated by you all. But in your own words, why should people watch it?
I think to support a really cool piece of indie drama about something quite hard hitting, yet still extremely relevant, yet still it's got the element of awareness. I think if you're looking for something that can kind of flip your stomach, but you're still like, this is still, like this still happens in like a lot of parts of the world in the UK.
Yep.
I yeah, I would just give it a watch. Give it a
Yeah.
watch. Come to support indie drama.
Yep.
Like, the like a lot of love was, put into this. It was based on um it was actually based on somebody in the director's life.
Mm.
So yeah, just give it a
Well,
watch. See what you
yeah.
think.
I thanked your director for casting you. You made an impression. Good luck in the future. And if acting falls through, now I'm not jinxing you here because I doubt it's going to happen, but if acting fell through, you've always, could always play violin. There's a lot of metal, symphonic
Yeah,
metal bands out there that need the string section.
sign me up. Sign me up. Okay.
Yeah. And you love singing, so you could be a singer as well. I think you've got a lot of talents, and I appreciate your time,
Thank
Evangelina.
you. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure meeting you.